Demi Lovato, but we also have Bean, Mary, and Emu. Because like all of you watching, they cannot believe that Demi Lovato is going to be on the show. I mean, do you even have your own talk show if you don't have Demi Lovato? Also, yeah, this is a stain. I have not gotten out of these sweatpants for about 5 days, and I have no plans on doing it anytime soon. Okay, so I am going to connect us with Demi, which I have some questions from the Bright Minds exercise. So we're basically going to go through the Bright Minds and ask Demi how she applies this to her life and if she has any tips and tricks to staying lit in dark times. Okay, go live with, when you go live with someone and you can watch the videos. Okay, how do I find her? We go live. When you go live with someone. Oh, here she is. Okay, there we go. Add. Waiting for Demi Lovato. Connecting.
Yay!
Ignore the stain.
All right. Ignore the
hey
messy
girl, hey.
room. Hey girl, hey.
Ignore the messy clothes. I refuse to get out of this jumpsuit because it's the comfiest thing in the world.
That's fine.
And I've been in the same sweatpants for 5 days.
Same. I have stopped looking at my dick sweatpants. And
I have those.
Do you have the crystal ones?
Oh, well, I have the crystal ones.
Oh my god, me too.
I love the crystal ones. I got basically every pair. Everyone is like so fucking excited that you're doing this. You're honestly one of the like brightest, most lit, inspirational people that I think is like in this industry. And so I just felt like you would be the perfect guest to start like giving us some tips and tricks on the best way to be bright in dark times.
Oh, well, thank you. And thanks for thinking of me. That's really awesome and sweet. And my tips for dark times, I mean, oh my god,
I have my phone tipped on a coffee cup.
It's in between a speaker and a mouse.
I'm not sure if this is the way that Ellen does it, but this is the way I do it.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, so tips for the darkness. Right now I've been doing, so I started going to church in December and just like found my relationship with God. For other people, that's universe, that's whatever their higher power is. But for me, I just started going to church and that minute Ella just Edson. Oh my god. Come here, guys.
I got my dogs too.
Come here, guys. Here's Batman.
Come with your friends. Come here. Come with your friends.
It's their first play day.
Come meet your friends.
Cutie.
They are the only ones that are like loving this quarantine right now. My dogs are so happy. Yeah.
Okay, so tips for staying dark. I started going to church and there's this app that my church has. It has like guided prayers. So for me, that's my form of meditation. It's like guided prayers because I'm quiet, I'm present. And then I've also been meditating a little bit too. And I think like the more you can do that, the more you'll calm yourself down. I started getting really bad anxiety the other day, so I did this breathing exercise where you breathe through one nostril.
Yeah, I do that one.
Out, and then you do the other one, in, out, in, out, and out, and it helps so much. I like calm down, but also co-regulating with friends. It's so important to like call your friends and talk to them and rely. If you're by yourself, you know, FaceTime or WhatsApp or whatever.
When I did RuPaul's Drag Race for they asked me if I had any advice, and that was my advice, and they looked at me like I was absolutely nuts. So I was like, you basically, I think they wanted like a makeup advice or like how I glue down my lace front or like what's the actual tea. But instead I'm all, but it helps me so much, and I do it before every single show, because sometimes the breathing just, like I'm not breathing for some reason. Like I just hold my breath before I go in. And when you start doing it, you realize how long you've been so tense.
Yes. Yeah. You start to you just release. It's so nice.
It's so good. And I use all the apps also. I use Headspace. I use
I have Headspace.
Except like
Aura.
sometimes they'll throw in like a little volume booster. I feel like just to wonder if you're still like doing it. Like there's a train one because I like listening to the train because it reminds me of being on the tour bus. But every now and then it does like an insane honk that scares the shit out of me in the middle of the night.
No.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna send you a video of this one that I have. I have one for the like my bedside, and I put on trains. I'm like, oh, it's like being on a tour bus. And then it's like it's for sleeping, like not for attention. So I don't know why it feels the need to like honk in the middle of things.
That's terrible.
But my dogs go insane. It's like freaks them out. Well, basically, kind of like the Bright Minds, the exercise that it is going through and understanding blessings and curses of social media. That's what B stands for. And I know you kind of sing about like haters and social media in your new song, I Love Me, which I've listened to 100,000 times a day.
Oh, thank you.
So what's one blessing of social media and what's a curse of social media?
I think the blessing is humor. Like, I find so much relief in
memes.
Like, I am so grateful that everybody is able to make content to make other people laugh and make other people smile. I think that's so important. And even in this dark time, I really feel like there's gonna be people are gonna try to find the silver lining and whatever positive they can find out of this negative experience, which may be spending a ton of time with your dog, you know, or less. I don't know what it may be for somebody, but everyone has something, and yeah, it's just like I feel like. I don't know, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff that comes out of this, like movie ideas and TV shows and all this stuff. And I feel like because social media, people get inspired to create their own content. And that's really exciting to see what comes out of everything. But I think the curse is that I think the cancel culture is way too, like, savage. It's just... You have no room for error at all. Nobody. And
Agreed.
That's a huge problem because it's like people say things online 15 years ago. Think of how many things changed in 15 years, or 10, or 5.
Yeah.
And you say one thing, it's on the internet forever, and then you're all of a sudden canceled. There's no room for forgiveness. And when I go back even just to like my values and what I believe in, with Christianity, is that's about forgiveness. So for me, it's like we lose ourselves when we're so quick to judge someone and we're so quick to put a label on someone for a mistake, you know. And I think that's really toxic, and we need to just be more forgiving. I think cancel culture actually like needs to either stop or slow down because
I'm bringing you upstairs. I'm bringing you upstairs because my fans are reading me from my Wi-Fi. They're about to cancel culture me because I'm like got bad Wi-Fi. I did a test before, and even my manager just texted me and said, "Damn, you need some new Wi-Fi, homie." So I'm going upstairs. Yesterday they were calling me an LQ queen, which I had to look that up, and apparently it's low quality. So I had like a blurry screen.
Wait, that's what
I got red.
in Malibu.
Oh my God, I just keep getting red and red. Maybe it's y'all's damn Wi-Fi. I doubt it.
Wait, I love this hair color on you.
Huh?
I love this hair color on you.
I was gonna say I love that lip color, but it's kind of the same.
It looks lighter.
You know, she's not washing right now. Today was the first day I showered because I had like a pretty exciting guest.
That's fine. I got face mask in my hair and it's still in it.
I live. Oh, they're saying the quality is much better now. Okay, you guys. So I wanted to have a cute little set. Was doing this in the glam room. We're doing it in the bedroom. Okay. So then R is a reliable source. Who is a person in your life or a website or a foundation, a therapist? You said your church. That could be your reliable source also.
My reliable source right now, I have a lot, and one is my therapist, who I do virtual sessions with right now.
Yep.
it's her. I've got other people in my life that are on my team, and they're just there for me. And then my family. Like, I'm with my family right now, and they're everything. So that's a huge reliable source.
We're so lucky that we have badass families.
I know. Our
Me and
moms
Demi
are
used to be
great.
neighbors, and like it was so good because we had so many families, and we had like, just so many people in the business. I think that's one thing that they really can lack, and it can change your entire journey, like navigating through the industry if you don't have a badass family.
I know.
And so I wanted to ask about immune boosters, because we were talking yesterday, like when you're traveling and working a lot and you're on the road, like it's so easy to get sick, and we're doing meet and greets and you're exhausted. Do you have any tricks on that, or like just sleeping well?
Oh my God. Okay. Yes, I'm going to take you to my little cleaning table and my immunity table. Look at this shit. So I'm stoked up.
Yes.
I got rubbing alcohol for when I'm about to make hand sanitizer tonight. I got tissues. I got ultra greens. I got a shit ton of emergency. Then I got all this stuff like Manuka honey is really good for you.
I love Manuka honey.
Me too. Apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar to me is like too hard to stomach sometimes. So these are really good. You know what? I'll just reverse it. That's so much easier. So these are like apple cider vinegar gummies that are so good.
That's so good because I hate the taste of it. My mom loves it, but those are so good.
Yeah, they're so good. I stocked up on a lot of vitamin C. I'm hearing a lot of good things about vitamin C right now.
Yeah.
Apparently in Beijing, it's like working as a treatment. This is like neti wash. I got a bunch of neti pots in here with more vitamin C and Imodium just in case. You never know.
Genius.
That's not mine, I swear. Oil of oregano, CBD, and then I've got probiotics. I've got all of these things. And now this is like a line. I'm not sure. A friend of the family's got all of these, and like these protect against 5G radiation.
This is honestly genius. This looks like a dressing room table.
I know, right? So, and then this is like just a box full of latex gloves. And I've got like a face mask and everything with like a filter. I moved in with my family because I live in an apartment building, and the building actually, somebody in the building tested positive, like a guest that was there, and so I had to get out. So I left.
I've been wanting to stay with my mom too. I have a couple people in my life that I know that weren't just feeling great, so I've been kind of like avoiding my mom until I know that I feel 100% fine, which is like the hardest thing for me because I want to be with her so bad, but she goes and visits my grandma every single day. So I just want to make sure that I'm like totally fine, even though I feel good. I know I'm young and healthy.
I remember your grandma.
My grandma, she's in this senior living, and today she wasn't feeling great. She was like having shortness of breath, but I think it was an anxiety attack just because she's hearing like so much about how it'll affect her age group. So she had a little anxiety attack today, but I didn't even want to go and like be there for her because I just want to make sure that I'm not so young and so healthy that I don't notice if I'm not feeling perfect.
No, that's so smart. The social distancing is gonna like help so much. People don't.
And I'm so good at it.
Take it seriously. I know I'm such an introvert. I'm like,
I'm so good at it. I'm like, so is something different happening?
Yeah.
Is something happening that wasn't happening before? So another one that we have of G is getting active, which I've had a really, really hard time with. The last few days, like I literally can't move because Love Island is about 25 episodes per season. And I keep saying just one more, but now all of a sudden I'm in the Australian version. So I've gone through the UK version, the American version, the Australian version. I started the South African version. Oh my God, like there's so many options. So getting active has just been like I've been on my bullshit. But I did say that chasing the dog around at least I have dogs because they keep me taking them in and out, taking them on walks. Like, is there anything that you do in a small space that you would say is best way to get active?
So the best way to get active right now Right now, fortunately, my family just moved into this new place, and so my sister doesn't have any furniture in the guest house, so I'm gonna use her guest house as like a cardio room,
Yeah.
like stands and like whatever workouts I do from my phone. I'm gonna do that when I hang up from here, but.
I think the dancing is the best. If TikTok can have any purpose, it's that it tricks you into doing a dance for an hour. Because I don't know how to use the app, so I just have to do the dance over and over and over again until I get it perfect because I don't know how to like edit it together.
Yeah, of course.
They're gonna slay me and say you're not even on TikTok. I have done a fucking TikTok, you guys. I did it for Shania Twain. Thank you. I have done one. It's been a while. Okay, so one that I think is like kind of interesting way to think about it, and I think that there can definitely be too much, but there is a healthy amount of anxiety and worry. I was talking to you earlier about, worry is the reason why we want to go over the speed limit because we know that it's not safe to go 80 and a 50. Worry and anxiety keeps us safe. It keeps us washing our hands. But something that I was wondering is like, do you think that some of your worry would maybe be that because you've gone through feeling times of not being confident or not feeling good about yourself? Do you worry about your fans feeling the same way? And is that why you make music about the way you feel because you worry about them feeling the same way?
Yes, my whole purpose in coming clean with everything that I've been through is to help someone else, because I remember being 12 years old, my body started changing. Obviously, that's what happens when you're a preteen and you're going through puberty, and my body started changing, and I didn't have anybody in young Hollywood to look up to at that time that had a normal body. I was looking at these stick figures that was because that was what was in style, and I kind of made a vow to myself that was just like, when I get older, I just want to represent what I didn't have. And I want to be that for somebody. And then I remembered I had a little sister, who was that age at some point. And I was like, I need to be that for her, first and foremost. And so I talked about my struggles with food and stuff. And yeah, and I'm glad that I did, because it's brought me and my fans closer. I feel like helped young people, learn to accept their bodies when it starts to change.
Yeah.
And I think I definitely never want my fans to worry or stress or anything. So like, that's another reason why when you texted me and said, hey, would you do this thing? I was like, absolutely. Like, I will, anything that I can do to help anyone right now.
Yeah.
We're just sitting in our houses, like isolated, locked up, like not doing anything. If we can be a light to somebody, amen. Like, let's do it.
Absolutely. I have this, I basically went through 2 or 3 years where I wouldn't wear shorts. I stopped wearing skirts on stage, all this shit, because after the VMAs and I had on my cute little new bodysuit, everyone started comparing me to a turkey and putting a turkey in my outfit. So then I wouldn't, because I was just so skinny and so pasty, and they kept putting me next to this turkey, and I was feeling so bad of myself that I did not wear a bikini for 2 years, and no one thought that would have ever made me feel some type of way. That's what we were talking about. Memes can be so much fun, but they can also just be so hurtful because they're meant to be funny, but when it's about you, it is just so not funny. And people made these gifts, and that was just such a wake-up call to me on wanting to use my platform for a bigger purpose. That's when I started Happy Hippie, because I just needed something bigger than this industry, because it just made me feel so bad about myself. And it was I was probably 21, and I was just kind of starting to understand myself as an independent person, and it was just really, really hurtful just to be so body shamed like that. And it really affected me in my personal life of just changing the way that I would be, or not wearing shorts to a beach, or just it changed my personal life. And what was so, I think, hard about it was my brand has always been about being so unapologetically myself and being confident. And the worst thing that I would feel like I would be to my fans is a lying or a fraud. But I felt like having this persona of being the most confident girl on the planet was actually kind of fraud, because I was so insecure on the inside that in my personal life, I wasn't even wearing bathing suits or shorts. And when I was wearing my little leotards and things, I had on fucking 4 pairs of tights because I was
oh my
so
God,
insecure.
saying,
Like the
okay,
tight game is crazy.
two things, maybe more than that. First of all, I'm so sad that you went through that and I had no idea. Like I wish I could have been there for you. I didn't know. And I feel like we've gone through like times where we're closer and then distant, and that's fine. That's what friends do. I just wish I could have been there for you. But like, if that ever fucking happens again, you better call me.
Oh yeah,
I'll walk to Malibu. I swear.
Come on. I actually wrote that about us today. Actually, I was looking at some of my questions that I was writing for you, and one of the last things that I wrote was, I kind of wrote this question for you, and then realized how much it applied to us. I wrote that it's times like this that it's a great chance to call and connect with people that you may have fallen out of touch with or lost contact with through some petty drama. It's in times of crisis that you realize what really matters, and it all seems really silly and small. And I was going to ask you what a tool is that you would use to open up a closed door. And I said, I think it's a smart decision before re-entering into someone's life with the stress levels at this height. It's important to ask yourself beforehand if it will absolutely cause no harm or negative effect on them to make amends. And it might be something that you'd want to consider doing once the energy is more mellow, because stress can affect someone's typical reaction. And I wrote that life is moving usually so fast that it's hard to slow ourselves down and appreciate people in our lives. And that you've been that person for me for so many years, and we've been friends for so long. And when it feels like the world is starting to crack, we all reach for super glue. And you and I have been that for each other, in and out. Like, we cannot talk forever, and then some bullshit will go down, and like, I'll just know that you're the person I want to reach out to. So I said, like, in dark times, it's really important to reach towards those that are eliminated. And I just think that you're such a light, and that it's just, even if it took this crisis to get us connected again, without just like, we run into each other at the studio or like some shit, but like actually connected and really talking. There's like so few of us that we just need to like never let this break again.
For sure. And I feel like there's so, like you said, so few of us that have known each other for so long that it's like, it's important to stick together. And being women in the industry, it's important to stick together too. Like, it's just, you know, it is. It's so important. But I feel like you've always been such a light, and that's why we connected at 14. Like,
Yeah.
I had a fucking gap in my tooth. You know, like we connected then because we just saw something in each other. Maybe it was their spirituality, or maybe it was just our hearts. I don't know, but
or maybe we were just gay as fuck.
Okay, what was your question?
I hate to tell you. Next question. We all got it. We know. Okay. About thoughts and attention. Thoughts and attention determine how we feel. Sad thoughts can make us sad, and happy thoughts make us happy. So what are ways that you stay focused on helping yourself and not hurting yourself?
So, things that make me want to help myself. Like, I'm trying to be more creative right now. Like, I want to do a lot of art right now. I want to paint. I want to draw.
I'm all about the painting.
I want to knit. I used to knit all the time. And, like, I forget, but then I start when it gets cold outside because I start knitting scarves for people.
Yeah.
So I should probably pick that up again. I don't know. I just
knitting, by the way, was it in the 90s. Like, just so all these little kids, I see all these Gen Zs, like, knitting in the 90s meant you were the coolest person in school.
Also,
knitting room bands
was the shit.
Everybody
fucking knits in rehab.
Everybody knits. Knitting is it.
That's where I learned.
That's so good.
Yeah. Someone's saying my sound is bad. I'm gonna prop it.
They're trying to slay you. They say your audio sounds great from here.
Okay.
They are so picky. You're so picky. Yesterday they were like slaying. I had my therapist on, and they were like slaying him. Like, this doctor, his microphone. I'm like, can you not slay my therapist? He like doesn't get the language that it's like kind of fun to read people. He's like, what do you mean I'm being read? I'm like, okay, you guys just gotta stop it. And so what's something? Yes, you talked about something that helps yourself.
Yes.
And then a really cool trick that we actually talked about yesterday with my therapist. This was like so badass. He basically said that a lot of us are either in our house, or if some of us don't have a place to call home right now, whether you are on a street or like in a relief center. Basically, it's called Feel Great Anytime, Anywhere. So you spot something wherever you are and you anchor it to a memory. So my example is that when I see a banana in my kitchen, I crack up because one time me and my little brother, we had this tree house and we decided that we were going to live there forever because we didn't like the way our parents were running things. But all we brought was a banana, like that was going to do anything. One banana. And so every time I go in my kitchen and see the banana, it reminds me of how much fun I had, like being a total just like country crazy kid with my little brother. So what's something that you can spot where you are right now that would anchor you to a memory, and what's that memory?
What's something I can spot? Well, it's weird because everything in here is new.
What about your puppy? Is she in there still?
He's not in here, but I'm seeing like, so I have these galaxy lights.
Oh, love.
And by the way, don't ignore my missing fucking nail. That's not changing anything.
I look like a child that snuck into a tattoo shop.
I
Like
need
it's
to
a
soak
drill.
these off. Anyways, my memory with the galaxy lights, it's not like an old memory, but when I was in the hospital recently, a year and a half ago, my sister Dallas came to visit me, and she brought these galaxy lights for the hospital room. And it was something that was so small, but so thoughtful and sweet that it changed the whole scenery and environment for me.
That is so cool.
And and we just like listened to podcasts and just like laid in my bed together. And, but like ever since then, I bought like a ton for my apartment.
Yeah.
And I use them all the time, like before bed, and it's so nice. It just calms me down.
That's like a perfect memory. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we're getting super close to done. I was going to ask you about, inflammation. So that's like a lot of cause of pain and health issues. I also feel like we can make this about inflamed amounts of stress. But anytime we make a decision, even when they are not ideal options, it's best to ask yourself, what is the best choice out of all my options right now? So yesterday we were talking about sugar is inflammatory, but a lot of people are going to have more narrow, less choices for this time being with everyone stocking up. So it's like, okay, if you have 3 things, what's the best out of those 3? So when you're tempted to make a decision that is not best for you, what's a tool that you use to make the right call?
I guess right now I'm looking at every time I go to make a decision, I ask myself, what are my values? And does it align with my values? If it doesn't align with my values, I don't do it.
I love that.
Right now, to me, there's these fucking cupcakes in my pantry that my family has, and I want them so bad, but I also know that right now sugar can lower my immune system.
Yeah.
So my values are, it's prioritizing my health. You know, that is my number one value right now. And so I'm going to go with that over just wanting sugar, you know?
Yeah.
Just because I know that right now everyone's immune system needs to be tip top, you know?
Yeah.
And I need to do what's best for that. So yeah.
I agree. I basically freaked out when I went to the grocery and got 3 cartons. They can get you with like probiotic, but it's ice cream. So there's a probiotic ice cream that I looked and I'm like, sugar is literally the worst thing for your gut, and it has so much sugar, but like they put probiotics, so there's like one little thing in there that makes me go like, oh, I should buy 4 of those. But the good news is they're officially gone because they were devoured, but no more. There's no more, but you can get manipulated, and you have to be very careful at the grocery store of finding ways that they tell you something is healthy and it's absolutely not healthy.
There's this documentary. Well, I forgot the name, so it doesn't even matter. But
they wrote probiotic ice cream. They're slaying me for probiotic. It's real. They're like acting like I made up probiotic ice cream. The fans.
No, I believe it.
They are. You know that there's all kinds of shit. You can get like, vegan cake, and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna live on a cake diet because I'm vegan, but it doesn't mean that you're supposed to eat cake every day.
Yeah. I'm getting my sugar right now through like my emergency packets and my like gummy apple cider vitamin thingies and fruit, because that's all going to boost my immune system.
We're all about that right
Yeah.
now. It's so important. And then, okay, so we talked about negative thoughts. Basically, we call those ants. And so we want to kill the ants that begin to take over our entire brain, the automatic negative thoughts. I loop, like if I get an idea, I obsessively loop on this one idea. So if it's even something that I don't like about myself, when I look in the mirror, anytime it goes like right to that. I was always so jealous of you because you had the best skin ever. And I had like cystic crazy acne at one point. And even when no one else could see it, like I
never noticed that.
Because I beat it for
Bitch, we had summer parties. I still never noticed it.
Beat for the gods. And that's what I mean. So that's a loop of a negative thought where I'm like, the only thing that this girl that has beautiful skin notices that my skin is crazy. So then every time I go in the mirror, I see it, even when it's something so minor. So like, what do you do when you're starting to get a little OCD on the thought that's not helpful?
Well, you know, something you were talking about earlier was like when you were feeling like you were kind of like a fraud. I really related to that because when I did my song Confident, I was like, my message was that I was so confident, but in reality, I was working out so much and eating such a strict diet that I wasn't confident. I wasn't.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm more confident than I was back then, and I might be heavier than I was, but like I'm more confident now, and that's better to me. I would take that over being thinner and, you know, miserable any day.
And you just like at that time when you're on such a strict diet like that, there's so much guilt every time.
Yes.
Even no matter
You're
how
in a
much
prison.
no
You're
matter
in a prison.
how well you eat, no matter how much you exercise, you're just constantly, every time you go to a plate of food, you feel like I felt like a servant of like this brain that it just doesn't give you the best quality of life that you could have.
It doesn't. And then after like going through so much stuff that I did, I realized the quality of life that I want isn't in dieting and extreme exercising. It's just being happy. And so when I have a negative thought like that come into my head, I go back, like I said, I go back to my values. Like, is this what I believe in myself? Is this going to help me tomorrow? And sometimes, you know, there's a thing about body affirmations that like I used to tell people to do all the time. I used to be like, tell yourself you're beautiful and that you love yourself. And like, reality is you don't always feel that way. So if you can look at yourself in the mirror and just be like, you know what? Like, because I still sometimes struggle with body dysmorphia. And when I look in the mirror, if I can just go, I'm grateful for the body that's gotten me through every day of my life, no matter what I've put it through. I'm grateful for the health and strength that I have today. That helps me be grounded in my body, and it stops those negative body image thoughts. So like, I think it's just a matter of, just asking yourself, what are your values and how can you be the most authentic to yourself? Because most of the time, those negative thoughts aren't aligning with who you want to be.
And I think that it's so hard when someone gives you advice of like, you know, look every day into the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful, you're 3 times. It's like you can say those kind of things out loud, but you still feel that feeling in your heart and your gut where you don't believe it. And it's just not realistic, and it's actually not helpful.
And when that's a perfect example of inauthenticity not helping you. And that's why I stopped telling people to do that, because I was like, you know what, if you can't look at yourself and say I'm beautiful, that's fine. Just look at yourself and be like, I'm grateful for the strength that I have.
And then look at yourself and say one thing about yourself that you know to be true. And it's like, I'm a really good person. And if you can look at yourself and go, instead, I'm someone that always puts others before myself. And sometimes that hurts me and sometimes that helps me, but it's a quality that I don't want to change because I really love it about myself. And yesterday, Dr. Amen was talking to us about understanding what we can change and understanding and accepting the things that we can't change and being cool with that. You know, there's a part of my quality of being that just, you know, my dad was this way, my mom was this way. Instinctually, I put others before myself a lot of the time, and it can hurt me a lot of the time, but it's really something that also helps me in so many ways, like doing this live series in times of trouble, or like it just works in my life so much more that I don't want to work on getting rid of it. I want to train it and contain it. Train it and contain it. You'll hear that all week. but I really do. I want to like know how to use that as a, I actually, when I got my throat surgery last year, I always had this like really crazy like growl in my voice. My voice always been really low. And it used to be something that wasn't an option no matter what. My voice was growly and dirty and, rough. But now from taking more training, now I know how to use that when I want it, but also know how to like protect myself and place my voice in different spaces of my throat that won't have that gritty sound that I love, but it actually protects me in long run. But when it's worth it, when I'm doing Zeppelin or Floyd or Metallica, I go and I grab that as a tool. If we can have things about ourselves that aren't always optimum for our best being, but they are useful at times, learning how to train them to use them when they're helpful and get rid of them when they're not anymore. Just training. And then so 2 more things about dedicating time, even just 15 minutes to learning something new a day. What is something that you always wanted to learn now that you'll have more downtime? Well, you said you wanted to get more creative, or what's something that you've learned in the past year that's like weird?
Something I've learned in the past year.
When did you learn how to knit? Like how long ago did you learn how to knit?
Almost 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Almost 10 years ago. I learned when I was 18, and I was obsessed. I knitted all the time. And so I think one thing that I'm going to do is relearn, because I always forget, and then it gets cold outside, and I'm like, wait, I need to look at that YouTube video.
Yeah.
so then I like relearn, and then I'm off
YouTube
to the races.
is life with that kind of thing.
Yes.
And then the very last thing is S for sharing, which sharing is caring. And would you share something special with everyone that's watching? A lot of them are like my fans, but like I see a shit ton of your fans also on here. So what is something that you would think is important for them to hear, or just that you love them, or positive thoughts for them? What's something that you'd like to tell your fans?
Something I would love to tell my fans, I think it's so important for anybody that is dealt with body image or anything like that, that right now when we're home with our mirrors and things like that, it's so important not to get consumed in negative self-talk. And this goes for anybody, whether you've dealt with body image or not. We're confined into these spaces. We're going to see the same mirrors every day. We're going to have some of these same negative thoughts. It's important not to beat ourselves up over getting nervous, over maybe not, eating perfectly, not working out perfectly. Like, these are different, very scary times, and we've never been through anything like this in our lives. So this is all new to everyone, and it's okay. Be gentle with yourself and just take care of yourself as much as possible.
Okay, I just heard you so loud and clear, because last night I was totally doing that. I realized usually I would not have the time that I had to like stand in front of my mirror and pick myself apart and be like,
yes.
Okay, I did really take down those 4 pints of the ice cream, and I really did cook that frozen pizza, and I didn't go outside because it's been raining, and I just sat and looked at myself, and instead of seeing myself or my body, I saw all the choices that I wasn't happy with. So I look at my arm, and I'm like, I see that I didn't do my, push-ups today, or I just looked at myself and saw all the things that I didn't do or the mistakes that I made, instead of looking at myself and saying like, hey, like, I'm the person that started a series that in dark times want to bring light to people. I'm the person that practiced guitar today, which I really want to get better at. So by tour, I'm like shredding on the guitar. I did all these amazing things today. And instead of looking at my hands and thinking about the notes I played on the piano or the song I wrote, I thought about all the mistakes or all the things that I did that I didn't like, or all my choices that I wasn't proud of. And it was just some bullshit. And I'm knocking that shit off.
Yes. Good.
No more.
Good. No more.
So I wanted to ask if you noticed that you had 150,000 new streams on your song, I Love You Today, because that would be me. So I just I'm going to play it before we go, and we're just going to sign off, and I'm just obsessed with it.
Oh, thank you.
This has started since the morning, like early this morning.
You're so sweet.
I love you so much. Thank you so much.
I love you too.
You're gonna
FaceTime
crack
me
up. I don't know how to
anytime.
flip my camera, but look, I was learning all the words.
Thank you.
All right, I love you. Thank you.
Love you.
Listen to I Love Me, because it's the best song ever.
Bye.